Hello, good people. Welcome to our show. Hello, bad people. Welcome to our show. Hello, guys. Welcome. I don't want to discriminate bad people. If you want to learn more about SEO, digital marketing, how to survive today, because many things are changing fast. We need to find solutions. We need to adapt. And even to thrive, you can grow your business if you use modern SEO methods that will provide results in search engines, AI search everywhere, because it's not about optimizing by to Google. You can optimize everywhere with the right approach. I'm so excited to discuss many things with Mariana Sweeney. How are you?
Well, thank you, and yourself, Anatoly.
Oh, a big pleasure to get you back, because you spoke on my podcast like 3 years ago in 2022. I enjoyed this episode, so I decided to invite you back to get more, in this quickly changing world. And I know about your great experience. You're very experienced in digital marketing, SEO. I think like we can learn a lot more today. I'm excited. And Mariana, before we start, because I think we have a new audience, we have old audience. Tell more about yourself, experience, background, and anything that can help our listeners to learn more about you.
Excellent. Thanks so much. As you may tell by looking at me, this is a second career for me. I'm an avowed information architect, and I came to SEO by accident, actually, because I noticed that there were intersections between information architecture and search engine optimization, as well as user experience. And I've been talking about this since 2007, but at the information architecture conferences. It was great when it was noticed and I was able to get some traction. And actually, SEO has been very, very good to me. But one of the pain points is that we seem to still be focused on how we can externally influence what Google is doing. My big break came for me was when I was invited to start teaching at the University of Washington, teaching a class in Introduction to Information Retrieval. And I told the university that I was not going to teach students how to build a search engine, because that is not useful information for us. We don't have the resources and we don't have the focus for the search engines that we're going to be working with. So I decided to teach students how search engines work, and then influence how they thought and could influence making search engines work for them. And that has been my platform now for the last, 12 or 15 years.
Wow. It's a lot of time.
It is. And it's finally coming to fruition. I'm very excited.
Nice. Love it. Yeah. And, I spoke plus 800 SEO experts on my podcast, and I don't know even one expert who joined this niche because of the purpose. Everyone here by accident, because we don't have high education about SEO. Someone came from development, someone from journalism, writing,
Right.
design, many occupations. But yeah, that is why it's excited. And probably today we have some high education about SEO, but when we joined, that was not such knowledge like SEO, how to learn it, how to become an expert in one day. So
It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. And part of the hard is it's also very boring.
yeah.
But in the end, it's going to make us better. In the end,
Yeah.
the incoming wave, the changes that are happening. You and I were speaking before earlier. Google released a paper last week about nested learning, where they have now taken what seems to be a very large step forward in making their systems think like we do. So we're going to have to start thinking like they do and to be successful. As for the technical parts, let's have a moment of silence for Bill Slawski, because he really did, guide us through the complexities of how these systems work.
Yeah, it's terrible event with Slavsky. He spoke on my podcast, and even more, we scheduled a new podcast. And when I got this news, because I don't remember which day that was, like, or Tuesday or Wednesday, but we scheduled podcast on Friday. So, and I got this terrible news.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was really terrible. I didn't expect, because he's great guy. He taught a lot, so I learned a lot from him. So yeah, but
My mother would tell me the good die young, and that's why we're still here.
yeah. Okay, Mariana, let's try to find the positive way,
Yes,
and
yes.
and don't make it boring. I mean, like, I spoke with Jim Edwards. He worked in Business Insider for 10 years, and he started on this company from scratch. Then company grew to what we know and was sold for $500 million. And he told me their success depends on creating non-boring content. They decided in the beginning we can create non-boring content. You mentioned it's boring a little bit, yeah, boring. But Business Insider found the way how to bring business content that looks like boring, but they make it excitement, more interested to consume. And I see it's a big issue. You can share value, you can bring value. But if it's boring, people leave it. Nobody cares about boring. It's tough to sit like that, to consume any article, to read it. That is why it should be a little bit excitement about that. So can you
Sure.
tell your way how to create such non-boring content?
The first thing I do when I take on a client, when I work on a client, is I look at where they are ranking and for what. And what it involves is going in and looking at and assigning topics or labels to the queries that they're ranking for. In that way, you can see what people are engaging with, because that's the non-boring content. What I find a lot of times is that we're advising clients to write content on topics that their audiences may not be as interested in as they are. And that is where, for me, the intent comes in, is assigning the intent. If you're ranking within the, from 60 to 100 on some of your themes or your content is, then you need to look at what that content is about, how it connects to what you're about, and how it's structured so that you can draw customers in and then lead them to what is our ultimate goal. And that's not visibility in search results. It's making the client money.
Yeah.
So where does it convert? What is the client? What is the content that is making people take that step that makes the client money? And building a connected infrastructure around that. Mm-hmm. So that's where I believe we should start. And certainly where AI overviews is taking us.
Yeah. And by the way, for me, AI overview and AI mode can teach us how to choose the right way to go, because what I usually see when webmasters are chasing volume is the most popular metric. I analyzed in 20 countries, only in China volume has the second place. I don't know how in China people can type these words, but yeah, I mean, like in 19 countries, volume is the most popular metric. And I often see when some webmasters open popular tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Google Keyword Planner, it doesn't matter. So they see this volume, like million traffic, wow, I can get a lot of sales. It doesn't work like this. You need to focus on low volume where sales are coming. Yeah. Can you tell about creating the right strategy?
And Google has given us guidance. I know that a lot of people don't like Google Analytics 4, and there's a lot not to like about Google. I'm almost starting to feel sorry for them. But GA4 tells us exactly, to me, what Google considers to be meaningful user engagement. And this leads me to the next part of Next SEO, and that is we have to start communicating with each other across lines. Now, I know that Mike King at his conference had one of the leading information retrieval experts, Ricardo Beza Yates, do a keynote. I think we need to have them giving sessions. We need to have these individuals that are building these sessions guide us to understand more deeply. And then we need to shift our focus to where you appear in search results. Yes, that's important. But what influences that now is what people do when they get to that page. So Google's definition of an engaged session, and engagement is a key component of visibility, is whether the customer stays there for 10 seconds or whether they view 10 or more pages, 10 or more, 2 or more pages. So that's the goal. Do you give them information that they want? Do you give them a next step to keep them on the site? And that's content strategy. So, hey, there's another group that we need to start listening to.
Yeah. And Mariana, I want to ask about EEAT. I think I remember when I joined SEO and I created my first project in 2008. I didn't consider EEAT. For someone who doesn't know, it's like experience, expert, authority, trust. So Google launched this algorithm in 2019, and I cooperated with a lot of copywriters before this algorithm. They wrote I don't remember the number of articles, probably plus 1,000. We got millions traffic, but things change with EEAT.
Sure.
I stopped cooperating with copywriters and started to search for experts. But I found another way. I mean, even if you find great experts, but these experts should have writing background. Because, for example, I found two great accounting specialists with plus 20 years of experience that work with 500 Fortune companies, but they don't know how to write. They don't have this experience. So, and I found it's better to cooperate with someone who who writes only about one niche and have writing background, who knows how to write. So, what do you think about that?
So EEAT is a framework that Google created for themselves because, quite frankly, at a period of time, 2008 was a good time for it. The idea would be, oh, Britney Spears shaved off all her hair. Okay, quick, give me 500 words on that, and I'm going to publish it up so that I can rank #1 for Britney Spears shaved off all her hair. And Google hated that content. To them, it was trash content because it didn't lead to anything. It didn't lead to anything for them, i.e. clicking on ads, and it didn't lead to anything for the customer or the destination because, people would go there, look at that, and then just come back and either terminate their session or they would click another result, both of which were clear signals that Google had screwed up. They elevated the wrong item for visibility. So EEAT is, in essence, a mathematical concept that has been laid out. They do have human evaluators, although we are not guaranteed that a human evaluator's impression of what should be where is always favored over what the algorithm says will make Google income in some way. So that's what it is. It tells you that Google is looking at authority and expertise, as demonstrated by the fact that people who have a pattern of behavior that shows interest in the topic that your site is about endorse it as being useful in some meaningful way. They click on a link, they go deeper into the site, they go back to the search results and do a completely different search. These are the signals that Google uses to say, yes, you were a good authoritative resource. And trustworthiness, when I started out in all of this, was explained as, would you trust your grandmother to give her credit card number to the site? So how does it look? Does it have those flashing marquee lights? Are there holes in the conversion funnel? Do people abandon their cart, which makes me think that maybe they felt that there was something fishy going on? All of those are signals that are available to us and that we should be paying attention to. They're not SEO branded signals. They're user experience branded signals. But really, what we should all be on the page of is conversion rate optimization.
Yeah. Mariana, I want to ask about this new abbreviation, GEO, Generative Agent Optimization, and many SEO experts criticized this new terminology, and they say it's still SEO. They created many other similar abbreviation, but some experts say no, it's not, and they change approaches for GEO. They create content specific for GEO. To be honest, I'm in the middle. I can't say that. Of course, it's still SEO. It's still SEO, but something we need to change, something we need to adapt. It's not like to create content for GEO. It's my point of view. I think we need to stop optimizing or creating content for top and medium funnel that don't sell, because I think ChatGPT, Google AI mode can steal all this traffic. It's not the point for users after getting AI overview or AI mode to click one more time, to get more information. Because if we compare, for example, title, description, snippets, people don't get enough information. They need to click to get more information. But AI overview can reply to all these questions. So the same words that they can share. Okay, we have these links on the right side, but what's the point to click to them if you get all this information in AI mode, even more crafted information specific to this question. So can you tell, what do you think about geo, and do we need to change something with approaches?
So, so generative search is Google's step in the direction of not just showing people a bunch of links. So it's not just if someone comes into you and says, I want to learn SEO, and you just give them 10 books and say, well, here are 10 books on it, pick one. That's not the point anymore. What Google wants is to say, this is the optimal book on SEO based on everything I know, which is based on every search that anyone has ever done on what you just asked me, and where they went and where they indicated by their behavior that they found what they were looking for. In 2002, Google bought a company called Caltex, which was a metrics company, a data collection company. And since that time, the head of that company has headed up Google's personalization efforts. And Panda in 2010 was really the canary in the coal mine for us as to where these things were going. That Google was going to stop relying on what was called the calculated relevance model, or bag of words, where it would look at a document and it would say, learning SEO. How many times does this appear in the document? Where does it appear in the document? How many documents have this term? And how many times does it appear there? And now I'm going to throw this all into a mix master and come up with a concept that says this document is the most important, the most likely. It's now come up with a system that is looking at behavior as an input, and it's constantly learning. So it'll present an answer like the way you keep cheese on pizza is with glue, because it found that somewhere on the internet. And based on the reaction that it gets from the customer, it will say, you know what, that probably wasn't a really good answer. And so here's another one. And now I am going to correct every wrong answer on this that I gave in the past. That's called back propagation. I'm going to fix all of that, and I'm going to be much smarter moving on. And I think we are seeing that. Absolutely. The increased adoption, increased engagement with AI overviews tells me that this is what people want. Yeah. They want an answer. They want an essay. They want completeness. And occasionally they click on a link.
Yeah. Especially, I remember the time when almost all projects started to write long content.
Sure.
When people need just one paragraph.
Right. Right. It's 2,500 words, or, you have to do 3,000 words. Yeah. Once the search engines started chunking, basically what they said is, there is a portion of this document that is highly relevant. So I'm going to put it in the overview. It won't make the cut for the 10 blue links, but it does have the answer that the customer is looking for.
Yeah, totally. Okay, Marianne, I'm interested about link building. I think it's really tough. Even today, for me, it's more tough than that was before, because many popular strategies don't work today, like in the previous, because in most cases, for example, if you take skyscraper technique, many others, broken link building, it's tough to get real results with all the strategies. I don't know, probably someone still can get, but when I spoke with many link builders, real good link builders, they usually use personal connections. So if you connect with right people, probably someone deserves these connections, so they can have some agreement about these links. But today, I see that even Google can praise about digital PR. That PR, I learned a few studies that showed PR links from big popular media coverage can bring much better results. Even Hrefs showed that even PR mentions can work better than links, the real links. I still have some questions from customers. Okay, do we need to pay attention to no follow link, do follow link? For me, I don't care really. If I get links, Forbes, you can't get do follow links from Forbes. You can be lucky if you get even mentioned on Forbes, So the same with CNN, the same with Wikipedia. They don't share external links like do follow.
Right.
But any of these links can bring value. Can you tell your methods how to do link building today?
Friends and colleagues who know me tell me that one thing that makes me want to burst into flames is when someone starts talking about link juice. There's just something about that term that has always bugged me. I think that Google has been very clear that links continue to be a ranking signal that is declining in importance. And logically, that makes sense. Because when Google first started in 2009, in the year 2000, 1999, there was no human signal that endorsed the bag of words calculation that this is a credible document. So Google was the first entity that said links are created by humans. And if one human is linking to another human or friends, then that other human must be a pretty good person as well, if the first person is. It's part of what's called the academic citation model. If I cite your paper in my paper, that means that you must have written something really important. I think we can all agree now that we are hell and gone from links being a strong signal. They never were fair because not everyone could create a link. In addition to which, they were always corruptible. And you and I have been around for the link rings and the, directories that were just to create multiple hundreds of links, all of that. So that is why Google shifted direction in 2010 and started focusing on user signals. So are links important? Yes. Do they provide some sort of credibility? They can. But the links that are most important are the ones on your site, the ones that connect semantically similar content into what's called a content hub or in content strategy, or for the SEOs, a hub and spoke SEO. An example being, when I was at Microsoft, I was a producer for the SQL Server marketing public website. And I noticed that a lot of people were abandoning the trial software page without taking any action. So I said, what can we do? Well, maybe we could find if there are resources like the Microsoft Developers Center, MSDN SQL Center. Let's put a link up there so that developers who come will know that there's information that they can get. And then TechNet, what about the technical people? How do you uninstall the trial software? Let's put a link up for that. How do I upgrade the trial software? That's a really important one. We did a test after 2 months and found that on the sites we were linking to, those related sites, traffic went up 30 to 300%. So that's where we are now. What's an engaged session? 2 pages, 10 seconds. Connect the content on your site into content hubs that then provide an umbrella of links to all of that, or links out to other resources. You get credit for that. And that is linking that makes a difference.
Yeah. It's like to create topical authority. Well, by the way, let's discuss more about topical authority. I spoke with a few experts who said to me that they use top funnel to create articles because of topical authority. So they want to show Google that this specific website has focus in one specific direction. I can't agree with that completely, but I think if you can write about top funnel, probably some of your customers are asking about that. So you can share them. Okay, take my article. You can learn more about the product on this article. But I don't think it's a good idea to do it for the sake of SEO. I think it's better. Even we have a lot of other topics in medium funnel, bottom funnel, where we can create content more relevant to sales than just to take this top funnel. What do you think about creating the right topical authority?
Again, it's all about getting people to your site and getting them to do what you want them to do. So someone, the query tractor is a head term, and that's probably not the query that is going to get people to buy your tractor. What people who use head terms are doing is they're saying, I have no idea where to start. So I'm just going to put tractor in there and then look at the results and get some ideas and then further refine my query so that I can get to a point of making a decision, whether it's I'm researching a paper, I want to know how to fix my tractor or whatever. So when you use a single term, and I say this to clients in my deliverables, your chances of ranking for this are very remote. You have no content that's ranking for this topic. And the way to do so, creating that content, you would be starting well behind people who are already established. So let's build on what you have, tie that to what you want, and then look at how we can get people to go where you want them to go on your site.
Yeah, Marianne, it's valuable. The main topic of our conversation, next SEO. Can you visualize or tell what kind of next SEO will be?
For me, it all starts with a very brilliant marketer that I had the pleasure of working for a few years ago, Brad White. And he said, the ultimate question a client is asking is, why should I care? So when you look at tech SEO, and we tell people you have to compress your images, you have to do this, you have to do that, we're not doing a very good job of explaining why that's important, why they should care about that. So for SEO, what I want is for us to shift our focus from what Google is doing, like throwing rocks at AI overviews or, trying to be number one for head terms, and shift our focus to what's going on the site and work with content strategists, work with the user experience professionals and the information architects to create an experience that gets together for the ultimate goal. This is part of what's called system thinking. And I'll tell you, lately, I've been amused and then frustrated by all of the conversations about Google indexing and the Google index. So let's be clear. There is a traditional Google index. And what it is for is to basically create a library of components for the web. And these components are, I had to take notes. I had to look it up again. These components are the metadata, the title, images, the links. It also stores the structured data, the page speed information. It looks at quality signals, the 8 signals that we talked about, user experience engagement data from GA4. It looks at freshness. So when was the last time, the timestamp, server timestamp, the language data, HTML code structure, canonicals, all of that. That's part of the index. And when it assembles the list of 10 blue links, it's basically pulling things from there. We see the title and the metadata. The others influence where it appears in the search results. A neural search engine is completely different. Basically, what it does is it goes through a series of transformations and creates a vector for the query and then a vector for the content that it's crawling. What this vector represents is a semantic understanding or a semantic topic or what the content is about, the meanings, the content chunks that are on the page, and then when the content was created. So very different. Now, do the neural networks, does AI Overview use the Google traditional index? Yes, it does. It uses it as part of what we've been talking about is called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. And in that process, there is an interim step where a component called a retriever takes the information from the neural index and then goes out to what Google has stored in its traditional index and pulls in the documents that support the answer. So that's where we are. So we need to focus on what's going on the site, use what's happening in the search results as a form of intelligence to create a site-based SEO.
Nice. What do you think about traditional metrics like meta text, title, description? including H1 headings, because I mean, like, I see different opinions about that. Some experts say it's just wasting time to write meta tag description because Google can recognize better intent, but I didn't get the confirmation from Google or Microsoft being they suggest to write meta tag description and title. I think it's very important for me because people are not blind, they read before clicking. So if you don't give them a strong reason, so basically we created the tool, our AI agent yonmiss.com, to help to get more clicks, to improve CTR. But some experts say in the future in AI search this metrics will not play a huge role. What do you think about that?
So do you remember about 4 or 5 years ago when Google shortened the title guidelines from 64 to 60?
Yeah, I
The
remember.
reason they did that is because they made the font on the title larger.
Mhm.
And the reason they did that is because they found that the title and meta description heavily influence click-through. So from a user experience point of view, there were studies that show that if you write in active voice, that is more compelling and draws the click. And now we know that having the title include, active voice if you can, but certainly the focus keywords and conform to the guidelines, that draws the click as well. So in essence, they are still important for that reason, because they bring people to the site. They make people want to visit that page and see if it has what they want. For headings, it's a little different. Again, the emergence of the intelligent landscape finds that language models respond to what's called the newspaper model in content strategy. And that is like the main H1, and then components that have their own headings and subcomponents that have their own headings and a semantic connection with each other. So in that essence, headings are correct. Does Google care if the H1 heading is the same as the title? No. Do keywords in URLs influence ranking? I think John Mueller's been pretty clear on that signal has diminished and it's really not worth it to change and get into a bunch of redirects. So in essence, metadata is still very important. It's still being collected and it's meaningful for the people.
Yeah, I think so. But I think about keywords in URL. I think it's better for UX because some people just copy URL and can memorize like that when they type in browser. So
see, for me, in a sense, there was a belief that people looked at the URL to see if they were in the right place. And now breadcrumb navigation has taken up that role for SEO. So again, if you've done it, great. If you haven't done it, I would not recommend doing it. I think URLs now are really important for tech SEO. And what's interesting is the idea that you can extract the prompt or the keywords, the query from a URL with the AI overviews. So that's a form of intelligence as well, to find out what it was from the overviews that brought the customer to your site. So in that essence, URLs are still relevant. But the whole query, the parameters, and how Google is treating those, who knows?
Yeah. I want to ask you about new terminology about SEO, because some experts can call it search everywhere optimization, not search engine optimization. And what I can see that some people don't understand it right. So I mean, like they think they can just repurpose content in different formats and get good results. But for me, you need to adapt. So I can't distribute the same article to LinkedIn post or onto YouTube video, because the audience is different. They have different mindset on different platforms. So can you tell how you understand search everywhere optimization?
So it's hard to imagine that there is technology now that can read the entire web, an algorithm that can crawl and read the entire web and then make connections between words that form concepts that form understanding. So again, it starts with the SEO community needing to have a deeper understanding of how natural language processing works and how that leads to natural language understanding and how this is now leading to natural language critical thinking. I think Mike King has done a fantastic job of sort of stepping into Bill Slawski's role and making the patents behind this technology understandable. But really what we want to do is go to the resources themselves. As you and I were talking about before, Google has come up with a new concept called nested learning, which is going to have a monumental impact on AIOs in the sense that the systems would crawl and create their understanding. But much like us, if I'm working on a project, that's great. But if I get up and walk away, all of a sudden I may have forgotten what I just learned. This new concept is going to allow language models to retain information in their memory and then use that to modify their understanding and how they understand as they move forward. It's absolutely critical that we understand this. And that's the purpose of Next, is to bring in people together, to bring the academics in, the computer scientists that are creating this, the researchers at the search engines that are creating this technology, to help us be a partner with them as opposed to an adversary. And that to me is going to be Next SEO as well.
Nice. I want to ask about what some people are looking for. So what I see when people, webmasters, are looking for simple solutions, how to manipulate, how to break this code, how to get results. I think like we did it like 10 years ago. So that was simple to cheat the system, to manipulate, because competition was low, because Google was not advanced that we have today. And today, I think it's better to play by rules, to create great content, to invest resources on white hat SEO for UX, to think about brand awareness, to to foundation of marketing, why people consume content, why they make buying decisions. But what I can see, when someone still are looking for a way how to manipulate, how to cheat this code, do you think it's a good idea, or it's possible today to cheat this big machine that we have today?
It's very hard to do so because the rules and the methodologies are continuing to change. And so that's why I keep advocating changing our role from being an adversary to being a partner and working with the system to achieve our clients' goals, which is not to appear in search results in a high position. The goal is to make money. And we have all along for the last 20 years associated the two. And now that association is breaking down. People are freaking out because their traffic has gone down. And my question is, what about your conversions? Because what some studies have shown is that the traffic may have gone down, but the conversions have actually gone up because, hey, maybe Google is right and we're sending you more relevant traffic for what you want or what you say you want. So that in the end, are there tactics that we can use to get what we want out of the new landscape? Absolutely. And one of the ones that seems to be getting traction is content architecture, because now everyone wants to be an architect again. There was an information architecture conference where we had an actual architect give the keynote. Yeah. He was with Rem Koolhaas's firm in I want to say Denmark, but I could be wrong. Anyway, he opened up by saying that the architecture community wanted to sue the information architects for using architect because they had to pass an exam and we didn't, that we could just go out and call ourselves. So yeah, let's all call ourselves information or content architects. In all of the client sites that I have seen heat map technology, you lose 50% of your audience by the second screen. So content architecture, if we're following Google's model of keeping people on the page, engaging them with the content, giving them next steps, would be that you have to put what is the most meaningful, concise, rich, engaging content at the top of the page. And what do we see most often? There's a huge picture, usually with an animated video, accompanied by no text and lacking a call to action. So right away, let's work with our content colleagues to pass on our knowledge about visibility and engagement so that they can map to that compelling content at the top of the page, next steps that make sense.
Yeah, nice. Marianne, I have final question, very important question for my audience. I think like I have some young audience. I didn't expect that. I didn't try to get them, but I still get them. So basically, I want to help them out as well. So let's imagine you started today without any experience, knowledge, skills. It's your first day in SEO. Forget about all your experience in many years, decades. So it's your first day. Nobody wants to hire you because companies are looking for ways how to use AI agents to replace just manual job. What will you do today if nobody wants to hire you, but you still have the goal to join this niche to become an expert in one day?
Wow, that's a tough question. And I wish it were an easy answer. Certainly, what I would do is expand my knowledge and start following content architects like Michael Andrews on LinkedIn. It's surprising to me how important LinkedIn has become as an information channel. So, it used to be Twitter, and we all know what a dumpster fire that is now, but there's still useful information out there. I check Twitter, granted, much less than I used to, but that's because I follow a lot of the computer scientists and the academics that are developing this information. That's the second thing that I would start doing is looking at, who is out there. Joanna Bryson is an academic in the UK that talks a lot about AI academics. Dagmar Monet is a computer scientist in Germany that talks about how this technology works. So look for people outside of your discipline, outside of SEO, and follow them and learn from them about how this works. And then I would start looking at the websites, or if you want, if whenever I went out for a job, I would look at the website for the company and go in and be able to say, here are some things that I see that you might want to correct, and this is why. Show a broad understanding. Follow user experience people. Go to the webinars. Joaquin Malaria has formed the Swarm community, which is doing great work at expansive, covering all the bases with the AI overviews, and your podcast as well, having people like me on board, as well as, Rand Fiskin and some of the top SEOs is critically important. And then keep writing about it. Post on LinkedIn, ask questions, get out there and show that you're seeing a broader landscape and you're focused on what the client wants. Why should I care? Be able to answer that question. Do not waste time on link building.
Yeah.
But be aware of the links that they have and how valuable they are in that context.
Nice. Love it. And I recommend anyone to follow Marianne Svinim to learn from her, because you can see a lot of valuable insights. And it doesn't matter if you follow Marianne, Anatoly, Ren Fishkin, you need to make your hands dirty. You need to practice, learn from others, learn from great experts, but make hands dirty. You need to implement everything what you've learned. Then results will come, because over learning doesn't bring results, but practice, real experience can create a miracle. It doesn't matter in SEO, in geo, at any environment. Just practice, be consistent, discipline, then results will come. Marianne, it's a big pleasure to get on my show, to learn from you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said it was mine indeed as well. Thank you so much for having me. I like to think of myself as a constructive irritant.
Yeah, guys, if you want to follow Marianne, you can find the link in the description below. I tag Marianne on my LinkedIn post to this live stream, so you can follow, and I recommend to anyone to follow now. Just don't forget about that. It's very important to keep learning from great experts and to become an expert in one day. Why not? Okay, thank you guys for listening and watching us.
A pleasure. Have a good day.